You know they were not good for you. You remember the confusion, the mixed signals, the nights you felt small. So explain this. Why do you still miss them? Why does your body react before your logic does? Why does your brain romanticize what your heart barely survived? Today we are unpacking the psychology of missing someone who hurt you through everyday human science. If you have ever missed someone who drained you, confused you, hurt you, or gave you mixed signals, this is for you. If you know the relationship was not stable, but your body still feels attached, you are not weak, you are human. This is not about blaming you. It is not about diagnosing your past, and it is not about turning pain into pathology. It is about understanding what your brain and nervous system were doing behind the scenes. We are going to break this into 3 layers. Why your brain separates logic from attachment, why intensity can feel like connection, and why missing them does not mean you should go back. Stay with me because the 3rd part changes everything. Before we go deeper, notice this quietly in yourself. When you miss them, what do you actually miss? The person or the feeling you had in certain moments? Hold that question. When someone is inconsistent, hot and cold, all in one day and distant the next, your brain does not experience that as confusion. It experiences it as pursuit. Think about what it felt like. The sudden good morning text after 2 days of silence. The unexpected compliment when you were about to detach. The rare vulnerable moment that made you think, maybe this time it is real. Those moments felt intense, electric, relieving. And that relief is important because your brain releases dopamine most powerfully not when something is guaranteed, but when it is uncertain. Unpredictable affection creates anticipation. Anticipation creates obsession. Obsession feels like attachment. You were not addicted to them at their worst. You were bonded to the moments when they came back, when they finally called, when they apologized, when they looked at you like you were the only person in the room. Your nervous system learned this pattern: discomfort, doubt, distance, then reward. That cycle wires deeply. It is the same reinforcement pattern used in gambling machines. You pull the lever not because you always win, but because sometimes you win. And the maybe is powerful. So when it ended, your brain did not just lose a person. It lost the relief after tension, the high after uncertainty, the validation after insecurity. Now your system is not just missing them, it is craving resolution, craving that spike, that moment of finally feeling chosen again. This is why at night your mind replays the good moments, not the anxiety, not the waiting, not the overthinking. It replays the reward. Because withdrawal does not feel logical, it feels like longing. And sometimes what you call fate is actually your brain detoxing from unpredictability. Missing them can feel romantic, but biologically, it can also be your nervous system asking, where is the next hit of relief? Calm love can feel unfamiliar, especially if unpredictability was once normal. If attention in your early life came in waves, if affection had to be earned, if approval felt conditional, your nervous system learns something very specific. Love equals activation. So when you met them and your heart started racing and your stomach tightened and you felt hyper aware of every word they said, your body did not interpret that as anxiety. It interpreted it as importance. You remember that feeling, checking your phone constantly, rereading their messages, analyzing the pause between replies, feeling a rush when they finally reached out. Your body was on alert, scanning, hoping, bracing. That constant activation can feel powerful, alive, magnetic. And because it is intense, it can feel meaningful. But intensity is not the same as safety. Safety is slower, quieter, less dramatic. Safety feels like not wondering where you stand, not rehearsing what to say, not shrinking yourself to keep someone close. Yet when you have been wired to associate love with unpredictability, calm can feel suspicious. Peace can feel boring. Consistency can feel flat. Your nervous system might even interpret stability as emotional distance because it is not used to that level of regulation. So when the chaos ends, when the drama stops, when the highs and lows disappear, your body does not immediately relax. It feels empty, not because you missed dysfunction, but because your system was used to running on adrenaline. You do not miss the anxiety. You miss the feeling of being intensely engaged, of fighting for connection, of trying to secure reassurance, of finally feeling chosen after doubt. That cycle imprints deeply. And now when things are quiet, your body may whisper, something is missing. But what is missing is not love. It is the activation your nervous system once confused with connection. Real safety feels different. It does not make your heart race. It lets it rest. Often what hurts is not who they were. It is who you imagine they could become. You do not replay the full relationship in your mind. You replay the highlight reel. The night they opened up unexpectedly, the way they looked at you when they were fully present, the conversation where it finally felt easy, the version of them that showed up just enough to keep hope alive. That version felt real, but it was not consistent. And hope can attach to possibility more strongly than reality. You filled in the gaps. When they pulled away, you told yourself they were just overwhelmed. When they were distant, you believed they were scared of their own feelings. When they hurt you, you focused on the apology instead of the pattern. Not because you were naive, but because your brain prefers a hopeful narrative over a painful truth. So now when you miss them, you are not missing the confusion. You are not missing the nights you lay awake wondering where you stood. You are not missing the subtle self-doubt that crept in slowly. You are missing the almost relationship, the almost consistency, the almost future you imagined in quiet moments. Your mind edits carefully. It softens the sharp edges. It dims the red flags. It magnifies the tenderness. Memory protects attachment, because letting go of the fantasy means grieving something that never fully existed. And that grief is complicated. You are mourning potential, the version of them that would have chosen you fully, the version of them that would have been stable, the version of the story that ends peacefully. But longing is not proof that it would have worked. Longing is often proof that you invested hope. And hope can feel just as real as love. What you miss may not be the person. It may be the future you built in your head and the safety you thought it would bring. Here is something practical. Instead of asking, why do I still miss them? Ask, what did being with them make me feel about myself? Chosen, excited, desired, alive, hopeful. Then ask, can I build those feelings in healthier ways? This shifts you from craving a person to understanding a need. Missing someone who was not good for you does not mean you lack self-respect. It means you formed an attachment under specific emotional conditions. Your brain bonded, your body adapted, your heart hoped. That is not weakness, that is human wiring. If this helped you see your feelings differently, subscribe to Everyday Human Science. This channel is where we unpack the emotions you thought were irrational and show you the psychology underneath them. You are not dramatic, you are patterned. Sometimes growth is not about no longer missing them. It is about missing them and still choosing yourself. Because healing is not the absence of longing. It is the decision to move forward anyway.